रेकी वन नाबू हमारा नाम है विनोद लाल फैंटम रेडियो फीजी 2 हम लोग बहुत लाइक करता हुआ ये सुनता है
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Vanaka and good morning, Fiji. In this bulletin, Fijians in New Zealand marked safe from COVID-19. Teenager rescued from hiking mishap. And FNPF COVID-19 Phase 2 withdrawal extended.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
Fijians currently residing in New Zealand are in good health amidst the new emerging COVID-19 cases. The New Zealand High Commissioner to Fiji confirmed to FBC News that there are ongoing discussions between the two countries regarding the safe return of Fijian nationals through repatriation flights. Jasaina Nunga with the details.
The New Zealand High Commissioner to Fiji says more collaboration is needed to initiate new and effective safety measures to tackle the impacts of COVID-19 before safely reopening ports of entry.
Look, I've been in touch with members of the Fijian community that live in New Zealand, that make New Zealand their home. And I think, they're in a good state at the moment. We've been working with Fiji on helping to repatriate Fijian nationals who are in other countries trying to get home, and where they have needed to transit Auckland. We're continuing to have discussions with Fiji, again, to try and help each other out.
Meanwhile, Australian High Commissioner to Fiji, John Fick, says with an influx on the number of COVID-19 cases recorded in Australia in recent weeks, the federal government has imposed stringent measures to safeguard its people, including Fijians.
Obviously my thoughts are with all Australians, particularly those in Melbourne at the moment, and also, of course, with the Fijian community there. Obviously it's a very difficult time for all Victorians, and our hearts are with them, and our hearts are with all of the Fijian community, not only in Victoria but in other places.
Prime Minister Warangam Bainimarama recently stated that Fijian heart aches with the new cases emerging in New Zealand and Australia. Bainimarama also conveyed our heartfelt praise for the two countries and says Fiji will continue to render support where possible as we strive to overcome the pandemic. Josai Nanunga, FBC News.
President and Commander-in-Chief Major General retired Chiochi Kondrote has been bestowed the position of Honorary Colonel 1st Battalion Fiji Infantry Regiment. In his address at the State House yesterday, Kondrote acknowledged the defence fraternity for believing in his leadership and appointing him the ceremonial head of the regiment. It is understood the Colonel of Regiment is an honour granted to any retired senior military personnel who has served in the regiment while serving their tenure in the force. Kondrote urged the current military personnel to understand the history of Fiji's peacekeeping deployment that has paved the way for the RFMF over the years.
Those of us who are familiar with the history of the deployment, we made a mark for ourselves. We were branded as good jungle fighters, and I think the result of that, at which we're all proud from then up until today, is the award of the highest decoration for valor, the award of the Victoria Cross to the late Corporal Stefanes Kunipalu.
Footage has come to light of a mountain medical rescue late Sunday afternoon. A teenager fell off a cliff while hiking the Ndelai Natalau Hills with his two friends. 14-year-old Epeli Kunambuli lost his footing while climbing up the final foot rock face of the Sleeping Giant mountain range in Sambeto, Nandi. His two friends came quickly to his aid and contacted Kunambuli's parents. Police were contacted and the rescue squad hiked up the mountain with Kunambuli's father. Due to Kunambuli's serious injuries and the steep terrain, it was decided not to attempt to carry him down the mountain. Helipro Fiji was then contacted to assist in the rescue and medical assistance. The teenager is in stable condition and currently recovering at the Lautoka Hospital. The Fiji National Provident Fund's COVID-19 Phase 2 withdrawal, which was to end with the fifth payment yesterday, will now continue. This means that members who continue to be unemployed or on leave without pay and have accessed their funds for Phase 2 are eligible to reapply and will continue to receive the $220 fortnight payments from September 1st. FNPF members who have also recently been unemployed are or are on leave without pay can also apply. Chief Executive Chauchi Koroi says the FNPF is grateful that the government will continue to top up those who have no balances in the general account. The fund continues to plead with members to be honest with their employment or individual status when applying for COVID-19 withdrawals. The Fiji Roads Authority has replaced about 30 bridges around the country. FRA Chief Executive Jonathan Moore says throughout his 3-year tenure, he has identified bridges that desperately needed to be replaced. Moore adds there are a few more bridges in need of replacement, beginning with the deteriorating structures at Wainra, Waimbao and Wainimbao in the Eastern Division. The FRA CEO says the next 10 bridge replacements will be done with the modular bridges purchased from New Jersey worth $2.5 million. Moore says those bridges are double width, extra heavy duty steel and will be beneficial in the Fiji-wide bridge recovery program. He says FRA is now in discussions with another company about bringing more bridges, as the FRA has identified 40 bridges they want to change over the next 6 years.
Fiji's bridges are not in the best condition. They're not about to fall down, but they do need replacement. And there's a 5 to 6 year project to replace many bridges, and we need to do that fairly quickly and very efficiently.
Fiji Rice Limited has made a huge turnaround of close to $500,000 in a span of 7 years, with the success attributed to farmers' hard work. General Manager Ashrit Pratap says some of these farmers were initially landowners and their land has been cultivated by Fiji Rice Limited. Pratap says over the years the company gave the farmers their share, who have thus reinvested in rice cultivation. Fiji Rice Limited produced 221 tons of rice worth over $161,216 for the financial year ending July 31st. He says the unaudited profit for the year 2019 to 2020 is around $471,000.
We deduct cost after harvesting and the proceeds are given back to the farmers. The idea is basically for them to have the feel of rice farming and also profits in the end so that they can reinvest into rice farming. So the mechanism is working quite well and we are able to achieve that.
Up ahead, beginner receives golden boot. And Fiji swimming to host competition.
Hi, Bula. I'm Selai from Nandi. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Fiji away Sevens rep and Yasawa rugby player KALIONE NASOKO is impressed with the performance of the Marlins so far. First-timers into the Skipper Cup competition, Yasawa has proven their worth, keeping other teams on their feet with their unpredictable play. Although the Marlins have not secured any wins so far, NASOKO says they've proven to be a side to reckon with and will continue to build their momentum after the close to 30-31 loss to Namosi.
So it's back to the drawing board now and back to recovery, and we start to, we keep on, it's a first year, so we're still learning and we keep on improving week by week. So we just go back to recovery now and prepare for the level the next week.
Fiji national men's sevens rep Suliasi Volivoli says he is willing to prove himself to earn a spot for Suva in the Skipper Cup competition. With a number of experienced players in the capital side, Volivoli is aware of how difficult it is to secure a spot in the team. Volivoli, along with Fiji sevens rep Alessio Nanduva, Terrio Tamani and Chuta Wainingolo, are part of the Suva training squad. Volivoli says their aim right now is to secure a spot in this week's clash against Naitasiri.
It was sad because there's plenty experienced player in the Suva team, like some flying pigeon. We contest for the position. That's why it's sometimes it's real hard, and I have faith that I can play for the skipper this year.
Being awarded the 2020 Punjab's Battle of the Giants Golden Boot came as a surprise for Gofra and Nasino midfielder Jasneet Vikash. Vikash says he did not expect to take the award after Nasino made an early exit from the Punjab's Battle of the Giants pool stages. He says receiving the award on his first major tournament has inspired him to strive for more and do better. The 26-year-old was impressive in the BOG, scoring 2 goals in the match against Ba and 1 against Lambasa. Vikash made his big break for the Giant Killers this year when he scored 2 goals in their winning performance against Ba in the Vodafone Premier League. The Fiji Swimming Association will host its first official competition since the onset of COVID-19 next week. They'll begin with their first short course Grand Prix tournament. The competition has been divided in 2, one to be held at Suva's Demorta City Aquatic Centre, while the other a week later in Nandi. With more than 100 swimmers expected to attend, Fiji Swimming President Ben Rova says they anticipate a good turnout from various clubs in the Suva area.
We're actually going to start resuming our competitions again, and we are starting off with our Grand Prix series. So we have next week. What we've done is we're splitting the competition, where we have one in Suva and one in Nandi.
Quick look at today's weather map. It is Tuesday, the 18th of August. Expect cloudy periods with some showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Fine apart from isolated afternoon and evening showers elsewhere. Cool at night. And that is your FBC Morning News. Join us at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. Remember, in times of crisis, you need factual news that you can trust. Stop believing fake news about the COVID-19 on social media. Fight misinformation by getting only the facts about the coronavirus from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio and digital media news. www.fbcnews.com.fj. Keeping Fijians connected with the truth.
Mevan go merere te lawa, go ngai tavua, ando talita kana vararonga na Radio Fiji 1 nando mai viti.
Radio Fiji 1 nando mai viti.